Once upon a time, tucked away behind rolling green hills and next to a babbling brook, stood a charming little school called Meadow Brook Primary School. It had a roof the color of mossy green tiles and walls as bright as custard. In this school, there were 3 best friends who absolutely loved nature. Arthur was a curious boy who always carried a magnifying glass in his pocket to look at tiny things. Isla was an artistic girl who wore a different colored ribbon in her hair every day and loved to paint. Jack was the fastest runner in the class, who loved climbing trees and racing the wind. On this particular day, the weather at school was a bit topsy-turvy. The morning started sunny, but by lunchtime, grey clouds gathered, and the sky suddenly began to cry. Splish, splash, splosh. Pitter, patter. The raindrops tapped against the classroom windows. Their teacher, Miss Poppy, was telling them how important rain is for the thirsty flowers, when suddenly, the rain stopped just as quickly as it had started. The clouds drifted away like wisps of cotton wool, and the sun came out, smiling like a giant golden coin. "Children," said Miss Poppy, opening the window. "Smell that? That is the scent of fresh earth. Let's go out to the playground." Arthur, Isla, and Jack pulled on their welly boots, rubber boots, and rushed outside. Squelch, squelch, squelch went their boots in the mud. Everything was wet and sparkling. Tiny water droplets on the leaves shone like little diamonds. Just then, Jack pointed to the sky. "Wow! Look at that! A massive rainbow!" Indeed, stretching from the school roof right over the hills was a magnificent rainbow. But there was a problem. Isla, with her artist's eyes, looked closely at the rainbow. She tilted her head to the side. She squinted her eyes. "Hang on a minute," said Isla. "There is something wonky about this rainbow. It looks incomplete." Arthur peered through his magnifying glass. "You're right. The top color is missing. The very top of the rainbow is gray and faded." Miss Poppy joined them and smiled gently. "You are very observant, children. This rainbow has lost its red." "Red?" asked Jack. "Where could the red have gone?" "Perhaps," whispered Miss Poppy, "the rainbow forgot its red at home. Or maybe the red is feeling a bit shy and is hiding. To bring it back, we need to remind the rainbow of the beautiful red things in nature." Miss Poppy took a shiny, empty crystal bowl from her pocket. "This is the color collector bowl. If we can find natural red things from our garden and place them near this bowl, we can give the red back to the rainbow. But we must be quick. Rainbows don't wait forever." The children looked at each other with excitement. This was a mission. "I know exactly where to look," shouted Arthur, and he dashed towards the fruit trees at the back of the playground. Wet leaves covered the ground. Rustle, rustle. Arthur arrived under the apple tree. Amongst the emerald green leaves, he saw something washed by the rain, glowing bright crimson. He jumped, but he couldn't reach it. "Jack! I need a hand," he shouted. Jack ran over as fast as the wind. "Up you go, Arthur," Jack gave Arthur a boost. Arthur stretched, reached out, and plucked the reddest, shiniest apple from the branch. The apple was so red, it almost glowed. "Brilliant," said Arthur. "This apple will be the most beautiful red for the rainbow." They ran back to Miss Poppy and placed the apple next to the crystal bowl. The bowl glowed a faint pink, but it wasn't enough yet. "We need more red," said Isla. "I'll check the flower beds." Isla walked gently amongst the flowers. There were yellow daffodils. "No, not those." "Purple lavender." "No, not that either." "Orange marigolds." "Very close, but not red." Then, in the corner of the garden, on a prickly bush, she saw a rose with petals as soft as velvet. The rose was decorated with raindrops and was such a deep, perfect red that Isla gasped. "Hello, lovely rose," whispered Isla politely. "The rainbow needs your help. May I borrow just one of your petals?" The wind blew softly, and the rose seemed to nod, yes. Isla picked up a fallen rose petal from the muddy ground. It was crimson and velvety. She smelled it. It smelled sweet and fresh. She ran back and placed the petal next to the apple by the bowl. Now, the bowl was shining with a brighter red light. Jack was running around in circles. "I need to find one too. I need to find one too." But finding something red was tricky. The grass was green, the sky was blue, the school walls were yellow. Jack sat down on a rock, panting. "I don't think I can find anything," he said sadly. "What a load of rubbish." Just then, something tiny and ticklish landed on his hand. Jack looked down. A tiny, round beetle with a bright red shell and black spots. It was a ladybird. Note: in the UK, it is called a ladybird, not a ladybug. "Hey," whispered Jack excitedly, so as not to scare the beetle. "Arthur! Isla! Look what I found! A living red!" Arthur and Isla came running. "Ooh," they said. "It's adorable." Miss Poppy smiled. "We can't put the ladybird in the bowl, Jack. It has a family to go to. But we can bring it close to the bowl and borrow its color." Jack carefully brought his finger, with the ladybird walking on it, close to the crystal bowl. The ladybird opened its tiny wings slightly. A brilliant red glow shone from its shell. Now they had three wonders of nature: a delicious red apple, a sweet-smelling red rose petal, and a tiny, cute red ladybird. Miss Poppy held the crystal bowl up towards the sun. "Come on, children," she said. "Let's shout together, 'Red, return to the sky!'" Arthur, Isla, and Jack took a deep breath. "Red, return to the sky!" At that moment, something magical happened. A beam of red light shot up from the apple, the rose petal, and the ladybird on Jack's finger, straight into the sky. The light hit the rainbow. The faded, grey part at the very top of the rainbow began to fill with color. First, a pale pink. Then, an orange red. And finally, a bright scarlet, vibrant and shiny band appeared. The rainbow was fixed. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. All of them were shining over Meadow Brook Primary School. The ladybird on Jack's finger buzzed and flew up into the sky, as if its job was done. Isla clapped her hands. We did it. We sorted it out. Arthur looked at the complete rainbow through his magnifying glass. That is the finest red I have ever seen. Miss Poppy patted the children on their heads. Well done, my little nature detectives. Every color is hidden in nature, you just have to look closely to find them. Until playtime was over, the three friends played games under the rainbow. Arthur shared the apple with his friends, crunch, crunch, crunch. They pressed the rose petal inside a heavy book to keep it safe. And whenever they saw a ladybird, they looked up at the sky and smiled. As the sun went down, the rainbow slowly faded away, but the lesson they learned that day never faded. The world is a giant paint box, full of colors waiting to be discovered. The end.